Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Sockers and the Major Arena Soccer League. Alongside Tony Sanchez, I'm Kraig Elston, back with you for Season 6, Episode 3 of the show of record in the MASL. Training camp is underway. The Sockers are on the field. Things are feeling swell in Soccer Town. Mr. Sanchez, how are you?
I am very well. Great to be back here enjoying this long weekend that we had, some of us, and I'm really excited to get into some really interesting and great soccer's content because the season's right around the corner.
On tonight's show, training camp's underway in San Marcos. You're going to hear from Kraig, Chiles, Gabriel, Costa. Interviews I recorded after the first day out at Bradley Park. We've got our first live special guest of the season, and it is Drew Ruggles, one of the newest San Diego Sockers. He's finally made his way to San Diego, and he'll be joining us live at the bottom of the hour. We're looking to bring together the supporters of soccer in San Diego for the home opener. Special announcement coming up in Soccer's news. And last week, Empire traded away the king. Now they've made another trade, and they have brought a multi-time champion into Empire. We'll talk about it in MASL news. It's all coming up on tonight's edition of Soccer's Overtime. We are live on Twitch at San Diego Sockers. We welcome everybody who's joining us for the live broadcast. If you happen to be catching us on replay, make a note of it. Set a calendar. Best yet, follow us, our channel on Twitch, twitch.tv/San Diego Sockers, and then your phone will go bing, just like mine went bing a couple minutes ago to say San Diego Sockers is live. But hey, if you're watching us on YouTube, we are thankful for your presence. Please follow the channel, like, subscribe, rate, review, do all of those things. And hello to everyone who is an audio only, checking in the earbud, listening to us on podcast. Very much appreciate all of you being here this evening and joining us on today's show. Now, you might notice, and this is certainly a breach of protocol on my part, Tony, we are a soccer show, and, you know, I do a lot of shows. So me showing up in a Padres jersey, you might have just thought like, oh, Kraig thought he was doing Padres hot tub. I'm doing that later tonight, but no, I know. If I put up the Sockers blanket, it's Sockers. If I put up the hot tub blanket, it's hot tub. So I am wearing a Padres jersey on our Sockers show tonight. And we do that because we start on really a very sad and somber note, and that is to offer condolences to the Seidler family, but to the Padres family overall for the passing of Padres chairman and primary owner Peter Seidler, which was announced this morning. Seidler, 63 years old, has led a renaissance in San Diego sports with his captainship of the Padres baseball franchise, has led them to newfound heights in terms of popularity, revenue, attention, everything else. His passing is incredibly untimely. It is shockingly sad, and all of the San Diego sports community, and I think, honestly, Tony, the community in general, is grieving today for the passing of Peter Seidler. And I wasn't going to let even the start of a Sockers podcast go by without mentioning Peter Seidler, a great man who did great things for this city.
Yeah, as a lifelong San Diegan myself, you know, it was something that, you know, was new, just seeing success for the Padres in the way that it was. I remember 1998, that was almost a fever dream as a kid. You know, it was like, am I watching a Field of Dreams? Am I watching Angels in the Outfield? Like 1998 was something special, right? But if you're a San Diegan, Peter Seidler is one of those people that really got it. And I think I expressed myself when I said that, you know, he was one of us. He really was. And a true person of character, and a lot of great things that he would do outside of the baseball itself, but for the city and the unhoused, the population here in San Diego, which is big and great. And I really, really want to say that if people feel inclined to do so, there's a lot of good things that Peter Seidler was doing here in San Diego, and hopefully that legacy can continue in those ways outside of obviously supporting the San Diego Padres. But what a loss, and it's going to be something that's going to ripple through, for better or for worse. But made this a better sports town than it once was. So everybody benefits from that.
Yeah, may his legacy live on is all we can say. The best owner the Padres have ever had, and hopefully one who has charted the course for decades to come for this franchise. I know he had said even previously that this franchise will remain with his family and for decades to come. So, all of that stuff will get sorted in the days, weeks, months, and years to come. But today we just really venerate a giant of a man in Peter Seidler. And I think everybody is just so crushed today by this untimely news. There had been the word of him being ill, but now to see this happen, absolutely devastating. So just wanted to put that at the very top of the show. And again, if you're wondering, why am I wearing a Padres jersey tonight? That's why. It's in honor of the great Peter Seidler. Okay, let's get to the news and the views and start things off, Tony, with some training camp previews. And training camp got underway at Bradley Park in San Marcos. The club generally trains outdoors at Bradley Park in San Marcos at 8 o'clock weekday mornings. Some soccer fans, have the ability to drip by and check that out. And if you're one of them, cool, come on by. Check us out weekday mornings at 8 a.m. It's pretty darn chilly. The first hour before the sun hits the field, first 30, 45 minutes, especially, then it usually warms up and it's just fine. But sunny skies for the first 2 days of training. I've been at both of the first 2 days of training so far, Tony, and a smaller roster, and very noticeably so in that, as we had talked about previously, Soccer's 2 is inactive this year. And as a result of that, you don't have all of those dudes who are planning on being on Soccer's 2 at the field and helping to create a second team and a third team, etc. So because of this reason and that, there was only about, I think, 16 players at the field on Monday. That number increased today because a handful of guys who went to last week's open tryout were welcomed out to practice today. And I saw Suzanne asking, who are the players who were selected from open tryout? And let me be as scientific as possible, Suzanne, to answer that for you. The really tall kid with the blonde hair, and the shorter guy with the mohawk, and the goalkeeper, one of the goalkeepers, and one other guy.
All right. I like that.
Just wanted to get into the nitty gritty. wanted to bring it to the level of a Strikers press release. The tall guy, the guy with the mohawk, the goalkeeper, and the other guy were there today, and it was nice to see. It was nice to see some depth on the field. But honestly, it's just a very interesting situation, Tony, in terms of this is a group that largely knows one another completely. It's a group that flip me.
All right, there we go. Sorry.
Swipe left. Thank you so much. I feel like I just got swiped left right there. Yeah. That was amazing. And the one thing that I think everyone is just watching is especially Gabriel Costa and seeing how he gets integrated, because, man, Tony, he stands out. Little fella, but he stands out because of his foot skill, that futsal ability, that ability to stop and start, that ability to move and shoot with the left and with the right. I think it's going to be fascinating to see how he and Charlie and Churis and Leo kind of find the rhythm of who's going to play with who, and when the floor opens up, who's going to take which spot and where things are going to go. Because right now you're just going like, I can't even believe we've added somebody of this class to a franchise that was already riding very high.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the caliber of player that's coming in, right? Gabriel Costa, Gabriel being one of them. And so that's the big question. I'm glad to see that uh, class is coming through even so early here in the season where he's already standing out to you, Kraig. So if that's something that you're seeing here, you've obviously seen it as Empire Strikers player, but now you're seeing it in a training capacity, and that's really where you get to know these players and the tendencies because like it or not, some players really rely on the talent that they have, but you don't really see that play out in training. So I'm glad to hear that Gabriel is able to really showcase that and so immediately. That's very good to hear.
Yeah, it's got me excited for sure. I mean, I'm just looking at the possibilities for this midfield, and you always say stay healthy, and that's the other thing. When you see a smaller roster out there, it's sunny skies right now because everyone's healthy, everyone's feeling good, everyone is tip top. They're rounding into shape, so to speak. The spirits are high, optimism is flowing. Of course, when a couple of people get nicked up, then you're going to start to talk about, well, okay, where's the depth on this club? And then if there's only a couple of guys, 4 or 5 guys who are not starters that are with the franchise, okay, well, it only takes one run of injuries at a position or overall to start talking about, do you need to sign somebody? Are one of these tryout kids actually going to get inked to the club? So on and so forth. So, there's a little bit of a balancing act to it. And the Sockers aren't the youngest team in the MASL. That's to be sure. So something to always kind of back pocket. However, Costa is not an old player. He's a young
Young guy.
addition to this group, and certainly, very, very exciting. Just it's going to be interesting to see how it all comes together. But certain things just seem to be in place already. Drew Ruggles, who will be our guest, just fitting in to the defense. And it's very nice. And we'll talk to him a little bit about it, Tony. But, through the WMF, he's had the opportunity to play with Boris Pardo, multiple times over the years. Was on the 2019 World Cup together, was on the 2023 World Cup together. He's played previously with Kraig Chiles. So there's a little bit of that familiarity. Just the fact that he's a veteran who's been around the league and been around these players so many times, played with them in different competitions. The Nations Cup this summer, Drew and Boris played together. So it just feels like there's already kind of that kismet compared to someone else who's new and is kind of like, I don't know anybody and I want to fit in.
Yeah, and especially in the indoor game, right, where it's so imperative to have those relationships and that chemistry built in. Defender and goalkeeper in the indoor game is one of those things where you have to be a kindred spirit. There has to be a telekinesis type relationship where sometimes the minds have to come together to stop a ball in midair, and it happens. We've seen Boris do that on himself, but now he's going to have somebody with a talent of Drew Ruggles coming in, and now you get to see a different side of Drew Ruggles where he's always had to play a certain way based off of necessity in a way here. But here, maybe he takes that back step and you see a different type of Drew Ruggles where he's not able to really show that where he's a guy. Here, he's going to be a guy amongst guys. And that's something that's going to be incredibly interesting to see. And look, that left foot of his is deadly. And one of the most it's just one of the most handsome passes that you can ever see on a arena, and that's just the pass itself. I mean, good guy has some good looks. It's a good looking squad here in San Diego as well. It's the San Diego Sockers.
Yeah, looking forward to chatting with Drew. He ripped in a goal today, short side with that left foot, little tres dedos action, and having that left footer adds so much of variability to the Sockers attack. And really, other than Brandon Escoto, for the last couple of years, there hasn't been a ton of left footers on the San Diego Sockers. So it's really, that's one thing that made Irvin Mojica stand out when he showed up, was that he was a left footer. Right. So having that creates a lot of free kick options for San Diego that they didn't have previously, where you would kind of know that if the shot was coming from the left footer side, it's got to be Escoto. So if Escoto's over there, you can kind of read it that way. Now you can do some fakes and play and have two different guys who are left footed on a free kick situation, so that maybe you run a decoy for one and the other one takes, or, et cetera, so on and so forth. It just creates more options. It creates more danger, allows both sides of the field to be dangerous at the same time on attack, and something to incorporate as the year progresses. But I think one thing, and maybe we'll even talk to Drew about this when he comes on, but one thing that should be helpful to him is the fact that with guys like Mitchell Cardenas, Guerrero Pino, Cesar Cerda, being the number one on-ball defender isn't something that Drew has to do on a game-in, game-out basis. Taking on the number one striker isn't something he has to do on a night-in, night-out basis, and that might allow him to be more of a defender who's bringing the ball up, somebody who's getting involved in the attack, a little bit more of the role that Rojo has involved in the Soccer's offense the last few years. That could be Drew Ruggles this year.
Yeah, and you can definitely see that. That's his game, and I'm sure we're going to get into it, because I know he's excited to also join the San Diego Sockers and be able to really come into a team of absolute winners, top to bottom, and that has to be exciting for him too. Man, I mean, it's insane, the depth that is possible here and all the different combinations. It's going to be a really good season, and it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, in this Sunny Skies training camp segment, let's bring you some interviews. Let's hear some of the early words. And let's start off with the new kid in town. Gabriel Costa had a chance to chat him up right after practice, and here it is.
Chatting with Gabriel Costa, first Soccer's practice, first time putting on the shield. How did it feel running with the boys here in San Marcos?
Very good. Finally be able to play with them, and it's been a while that I've been looking forward to it. So I'm finally here, so let's get to it.
You had such an incredible summer of action. Of course, we saw you guys get the bag at TST. That had to have been an incredible moment, and all the way through the opportunity to come here and play in San Diego. What made you want to become a Soccer?
Talking to Tavoy actually at TST, we played together. He was telling me good things about it. Talking to Charlie as well. We all had great things to talk about San Diego. And obviously, I played against you guys, and I was like, that's the best team that I faced. So it wasn't like a very hard decision, to be honest.
Well, you were certainly one of the best players we had to face, and a real pain to defend. So I'm glad to have you wearing our colors. What are you hoping to bring to the squad this year?
First, I'm trying to fit in the best way possible. I mean, I can score goals and assists, but other than that, just here to work hard, and we'll see what comes out on the pitch.
And obviously, when you look around at the MASL, you know you're going to be facing your old club a lot, but when you see where this club fits in, where it's kind of championship or we didn't have a great season, what are your thoughts about operating with those levels of expectation?
It's okay. I mean, it's part of the professional environment. There's pressure, and the better the team that you play for, there's more. It's even more the pressure, because you're always expected to win. So I'm used to it. I'm sure we're gonna get the work done.
I know, if I remember right, I remember you saying you got married last year. Yeah. Right? How's life now as your newlywed phase draws to a close?
It's great, and she's very happy. So that's really all that matters. We got married in January, in the middle of the MSL last season. So, I mean, there's nothing to complain now. We live in Vista, so what else can we ask for?
Absolutely. Happy wife, happy life, happy Gabriel Costa. Exactly. Welcome to the club, sir.
Thank you.
He's learned quickly, Tony.
Yeah, 100%. I've had my share of partner events recently too in an anniversary setting, and
that happy 10.
That Big 10. That's some really good thinking there, Kraig. Solid advice from you. But look, he's awfully complimentary of the San Diego Sockers before coming here. He knew who the San Diego Sockers were, obviously, and the best team he faced. And also, we got to thank Tavoy Morgan for the assist on that one, I guess.
It doesn't hurt. It might just have been something that Newtown Pride FC featuring Tavoy Morgan, Drew Ruggles, and Gabriel Costa is now San Diego Sockers featuring Tavoy Morgan, Drew Ruggles, and Gabriel Costa. Now, does this mean that we're actually happy that Vita FC didn't win because we got a couple of players out of it?
True.
Hey.
True. Yeah. Hey. They do enough winning. Those guys on Vita FC, they know what it's like.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Might not have been such a bad thing. All right. We also had the chance on Monday afternoon to catch up with the captain of the club, Kraig Chiles, and get his early takes on what he's seen in training camp.
All right, Kraig, first day of training camp in the books. You've got a hearty squad here. I know it wasn't at full population today, but what was it like just getting the legs out there and getting running?
Quality over quantity. Honestly, it's unbelievably talented team, and it was a great start to preseason, and the team looks like we're ready to hit the ground running. So I'm really optimistic about this year.
You know, you look again at the roster, and it's essentially run it back plus add the newcomer of the year and arguably the best defender in the league in Costa and Ruggles. How much of a kind of abundance of riches is it to have these guys on the squad?
It's crazy. I mean, it is not difficult to play target for this team with such talented midfielders. And, you know, it's going to be very difficult for teams to sort out a game plan to stop us because there are no weak links. And honestly, each shift and each practice we have, all these guys are impressing more and more. And so it's going to be a really good team for us this year, and I'm looking forward to hanging out at the back post and tapping in some of those services.
You're one of the guys who is very much aware of the history of the San Diego Sockers. This is the last year at Pechanga Arena, the grand old arena, 12 championships in the franchise's history in seasons that they played there. What kind of thoughts do you have going into a season that you know is going to have special significance to it?
Yeah, you know, honestly, I've had so many good memories there, and the old guard had so many good memories there themselves. And so I can remember when we left Del Mar going to the sports arena, and I thought it was a weird move because we had so much success at Del Mar, but it all made sense when we got into the grand old arena. And you can feel the history in there. You can feel, you look at the banners and the rafters and all the names retired. And so I'm really looking forward to opening a new chapter up at Front Wave in Oceanside next year. But we're going to really cherish the last, hopefully 14, 15 games in that arena before we head north.
The first of many conversations in the year, Kraig. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Greg.
I don't even like that he said 14, 15 games. Just say 15 games.
Yeah, just say 15. Yeah, just stamp
it. Was 14 last year. Not enough. Not enough.
Yep, exactly.
One too few. So, yeah, good stuff, though, from Kraig Chiles. And I think the chat was most excited in seeing Kraig Chiles here. Everyone watching on Twitch, Tony, because not only was he clean shaven, had the Yankees look, but also looking pretty svelte, looking pretty good at the start of training camp, which is always an encouraging sign.
Yeah, peak Kraig Chiles is like nothing else on the green alfombra, and definitely something that's very well welcomed. And if that means no stash, but you get a primed up Kraig Chiles that's ready to go here in the beginning of the season, that's definitely welcomed. And he knows more than anybody. He's a historian himself of the San Diego Sockers because he's lived a lot of the great history of the San Diego Sockers, and he knows what this team coming in really means and what he has coming in and how he's going to be set up to tap in those goals, get those set pieces done. Those weapons around him are going to be ready to go for him.
Yeah, what a big year. And, we're the San Diego Sockers. So closing out Pechanga Arena with anything short of confetti and a cup, it's just not what we're looking to do. And especially in a year where, I hate to say it, but in a year where the Loyal made the playoffs and couldn't come through, and where the Wave made the playoffs and couldn't come through, and Albion made the playoffs and couldn't come through, it's on us again. The mantle has just been handed back to us one more time, Tony. It's like a putter in a 4-person scramble. First 3 miss again. Back to you guys. Knock it in for us. So we've got the San Diego soccer ecosystem to hold up from a championship standpoint.
And could that be that, Kraig is a little bit more ready to go here in the preseason because he's hungry because of what happened last season? And you don't really see Kraig out in these tournaments either anymore, especially being the super veteran that he is. But all the other players, they're a little bit more in tune with their body and up to game speed, but to see that from the captain, and that's something that we saw last year. There was a point in the lull where San Diego and the Sockers were not necessarily firing on all cylinders. He came on Sockers Overtime. He said, you know what? It's not acceptable. We have to change this. I know he turned around and said the exact same thing to that locker room and those players, and they got it together, and they were able to really come in and fix and right the ship. But you know what? If that's starting from day one, I'm all for it.
That was a legendary appearance last year on Soccer's Overtime. Then he went down and had, I think it was 5 points in that game in Chihuahua to lead the way. The captain leading the way. Absolutely love it. Well, we're getting close to the bottom of the hour here, Tony. Just let me know whenever Drew pops into the on deck circle.
On deck.
And we will wheel him out and bring him up to the stage. Again, a lot of exciting things happening for the club tomorrow. Not for nothing is the club's photo day. So tomorrow is the day that all the player animations that you'll see when the guys run out, all of the headshots on the website, all of the prestige shots that we'll be using on social media and whatnot. All of those take place tomorrow. You're not invited. Sorry. No, I mean, you're invited, Tony.
Oh,
you're invited.
okay. Yeah. Okay.
You, Tony, speaking to you, are invited.
So
not open to the public is what I'm saying. Not open to the public. Because, I mean, why would you want to be there? It's early in the morning. People are taking photos. It makes no sense at all. But we've got some fun stuff lined up for this year on the Jumbotron. Some fun stuff lined up for social media as well. So excited for that. Photo day coming up tomorrow. Season ticket member party is Sunday afternoon. That is at Calafino. That is open to season ticket members. And I mean, Tony, you and Chiva are always invited to anything, of course. So, anytime you guys want to come up just as Two Balls representatives,
Absolutely.
Take advantage of the largesse of the Calafino Lounge. Please feel free to do so. But that is Sunday afternoon. That'll be at 1:00. And we are all very much excited that on that day to reveal the 2023-24 kits for the San Diego Sockers.
All right.
Home road and the unique alternate that'll be used only a couple of times all season long. And also, of course, to just have our season ticket member family together, some Q&A with the players, with the coaches, with myself, with the staff, answer any questions that you need to know about our final season at Pechanga Arena, about moving up into Front Wave Arena, all of that. It's going to be catered. It's going to be a great, great afternoon. And hey, if you're listening to this and you're not a soccer season ticket member, it's not like it's not like you missed your plane. You can go ahead and sign up today. You can sign up tonight. You can go to sdsoccers.com and click on season ticket memberships and get that rolling. You can call 866-799-GOAL, talk to Spencer, talk to Sonora, get your season ticket membership rolling and get that invite to the season ticket member party as well, where everyone will get their gift and gets their season ticket member card, which gives them an opportunity to get, a discount on merchandise and, a specialized parking area at the arena. Oh, and by the way, I'll just make one more announcement. Our new jerseys will be available for purchase at the season ticket member party. And with your card, you're going to get that discount as well right there. So if you see them, you like them, you want to bring them home, you can have them and have them ready to wear for the first game of the season and not have to be standing in a line at the merch booth on Sunday, December 3rd. So a great opportunity, something that we heard as feedback from our season ticket members, and we're excited to bring that to the season ticket member party. And okay, that's 2 vamps. One more vamp, or is Drew there?
I think he is finishing up. But no, I want to just echo those sentiments as well, right? It's not just people who are traditionally soccer fans and are always there and are always repping. I, again, extend the invitation to those supporters of the game who are around town and are ready to go, much like our guest is ready to go as well. We'll go ahead and bring him on, Kraig.
Outstanding. Let's welcome to the program one of the newest San Diego Sockers. The great Drew Ruggles is joining us on Soccer's Overtime. Drew, you're muted. You're muted. Take yourself off mute. There we go. What's happening, brother?
I knew something would happen. Undoubtedly, something would mess up.
It's all good. I think I muted myself for the start of episode 1. So
the people may have enjoyed that a little better.
Factually correct. Maybe arguably the highest rated part of the season so far. Well, first things first, my friend. I just want to say welcome to San Diego. I remember very specifically walking the streets of Perth, Australia, in September of 2019, and we were reflecting. And you had just signed a big money contract with Florida to move down and join the tropics. And I remember saying a certain sentence to you, which was, "All roads lead to San Diego."
I remember that. Yeah, it's funny.
Here
man.
you
It's
are.
like
All roads lead to San Diego, Drew.
Yeah.
Bienvenido. Welcome.
Gracias.
Well, let's talk about your path here. Obviously, the Florida tropics are no more, and that's a true bummer for the sport. It's a bummer for the fans in Lakeland and in South Florida. But how did it all come together to get you here under the Soccer's shield?
Yeah. I mean, just to touch briefly about the tropic situation, man, I just agree with you completely. It's sad times for the league. A lot of fans were pretty disappointed, as were the players. It just kind of came out of nowhere. So yeah, it was a tough time to go through as far as, figuring out what was next. But once the league gave us approval to be free agents, kind of the weight lifted off everyone's shoulders, and we were able to, essentially decide our own fates, which was all we were kind of asking for, given that we weren't the ones who caused, the organization to be put in that position. We didn't think that it would be fair to do what they were talking about before in a dispersal draft or whatever else they were thinking. But man, I'm so fortunate to put that behind me. Like I said, once we got the free agency, once they told us that was going to be the case, man, like you said, all roads lead to San Diego. I mean, at this point in my career, I want to win pretty badly. And there's a couple of teams that give you a shot at that every year. So, obviously I shot myself around a little bit, and, just with a family and 2 kids and a wife, I have them to consider as well. They've been awesome. They support me, obviously moving across the country with me on a whim. So, it's a good thing to have Phil pick up the phone and want you just as bad as you want to be there. So it was, great conversations with Cheeky, Phil, and, everybody in the front office. The timing was right. The fit of the team feels right. And that desire to win. I mean, what better place to go and do that than San Diego? So as much interest as there was in other parts of the league, I think my mind was pretty made up once we were allowed to be free agents. I mean, before I did sign with Florida, I was very heavily considering coming to San Diego. Obviously, I wouldn't change anything. I'm glad I'm here now, but it's always been somewhere, I've desired to play at, and I'm going to take a lot of pride in doing so. So other than the little nitty gritty details and logistics, I mean, that's kind of how it happened. Like you said, I mean, we had conversations years ago about being at this franchise, and like you said, here I am now. So good times ahead.
No, great times hopefully coming up. And, you're talking about, the mutual desire either from Phil, from Cheeky, and yourself to come in, but on an X's and O's type of level, how do you see yourself integrating into this soccer squad where you've seen the Soccers play, the players, the league knows the players? How do you see yourself molding your game into the San Diego Soccers? I mean, I was looking at Kraig interviewed Gabriel. I was looking at the background, like, what is he doing? Like, I can see him shot. I hear that shot, hear that left foot. What is that going to be like for you?
You're right. No, I mean, I think most people know after, watching me in the league for a handful of seasons that I like to, attack out of the back. I do take a lot of pride in my defending. If you can keep a team off the score sheet, you give yourself a good chance. So first and foremost, gonna do my best to help the team, win that defensive record again. I think that if I'm not mistaken, the last 2 years, giving up the fewest goals. And that's something as a defender that, you take a lot of pride in. And so, I want to bring my calmness in the back. I want to bring, a lot of my tenacity, my desire to win. And how that fits in is I think my style is very suited for, how the Sockers play. A lot of small passes, a lot of technical, parts of the game that they excel at, a lot of very creative players. My job is to give it to those guys. I feel like I'm pretty opportunistic when I can be. And like I said, I like to take my chances going forward. But I mean, in Florida, maybe I had to do that a little bit more, but I mean, look at the guys we have now, there's not really a need for me to do that. So I'm excited. I think it's going to, give me the freedom to be a little bit more effective in the moments that I'm in the game, just because I don't have to, worry about all of the other things. These guys, after 2 days of training, I mean, I'm coming home with a big smile on my face, just like grinning, because it's just so fun. It's how I envisioned always, playing the game. And so I'm hoping it's seamless. The first 2 days, if you ask me, it's going pretty well. And so, just bring in that, like I said, that championship mindset, the desire to win, taking pride in the details and the technical side of the game. Those are all things that are high on my list of being fulfilled when I'm playing indoor. So I'm not really too concerned. Obviously, I had a couple of people, how you guys going to play? Well, you guys got Serta, this and that. I'm like, man, I always count on myself, but this team was good before me. This team has had all-star roster for the last 10 years I've been in the league. So pinch it in here and there, giving the team what I can on the field. That's the goal. And I hope it, works out for the best. I'm looking to be here as long as I can be. So
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned it, and I remember the last time I was down, not the last time, but one of the last road trips before COVID, being down in Florida. I met your wife when you were staying at an extended stay hotel at that time. I believe she was pregnant with your first child. Now you've got 2 kids. So I know how difficult it is to go from the East Coast to the West Coast. Admittedly, from a climate standpoint, Florida to San Diego is reasonably similar, less humidity, obviously, out here. But what's that adjustment been like for your family?
I think that also, like I said previously, I have my family to consider. And while Florida was fantastic to us and we really enjoyed our time there, all my family is on the East Coast. So while they weren't, relatively close, they were still, a quick flight away if need be. But what's nice is actually my wife's family all lives in, San Jose, a little bit further north. So still not terribly close, but once again, a quick flight. And man, like, everyone's been to Florida, and I tell you what, those like 3 months of winter are really nice. But man, in the summer, it gets hot, and you sometimes get trapped inside. So man, my family's been having a fantastic time going out in the middle of the day to the parks, going down to Oceanside and, enjoying all the downtime before the season got started up. It's been a really smooth transition. Everybody's happy, and my wife fortunately works from home and has been with the same company for years. So that was an easy transition for her. And I think for me, it was the hardest for me because I've just been waiting to get after it. I think finally now that, we're in the thick of preseason, that it's a lot easier for me to be like, okay, that's what I'm here for. That's the whole reason that we moved out. So no, it's been a fun transition. I'll say it probably will never do that drive ever again with 2 kids ever again.
Yikes. Yeah.
Ever again. I already had that conversation with my wife. I'm like, look, if we got to fly the dog under the plane, like, my heart goes out to him, but he'll be fine for the 4 hours, 5-hour flight, as opposed to, 4, 5, 6 days in a car. So I'm like, never again. And we're here to stay. So, I mean, we love it here. Like I said, it's been fantastic, just being able to enjoy what's around. So it's awesome.
No, I love that. And really, the dog is as much a part of the family as anything else. I really take you on that for considering the pooch. But speaking about the transition, you're moving from the Eastern Conference now to the Western Conference, and there's a lot of movements now with some teams, Monterrey not joining the Eastern Conference, but yourself coming on this side of the bracket. What do you think that's going to be and how unfolding this season? And is it going to be a challenge for you? Is it going to be a different play style or just a different season altogether with that? Or how do you perceive this Western versus Eastern Conference going?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the last couple seasons, I think the West has kind of been the team, the division to beat. And so, I'm coming in not thinking anything's going to be easy. Nothing's going to be sweet. Nothing's going to be given to us. And I'll say this: I'm really looking forward to those games down in Mexico, man. I love that environment. I love the fast pace. I love the constant action. I mean, it's just something as a player that you don't get to experience very often on the East Coast. I mean, we do a little bit more run and gun out there. It's a little bit more fast paced than the West Coast style. But man, those games are something that I'm really looking forward to. It'll be a new challenge. Obviously, I've played my whole career on the East, and so I know a lot of those players kind of in and out. So it'll definitely be a challenge, I think. But I don't think I'm not prepared for it. I'm really looking forward to it. I think going into situations like this, it only provides room for growth. It's kind of one of those things, you either sink or you float. And, I'm a very optimistic person. So, I'll always go into it expecting a challenge, but, betting on myself. So I'm excited, man. I think the West has, had their handful of powerhouses over the last couple seasons. Chihuahua, obviously San Diego, for a little period there. Empire was there for a minute. They made the finals. They had their chance, but it'll be interesting. Like you said, there's been a lot of movement. You're seeing some players come back to teams. I think there's a real investment that we're seeing from owners, not necessarily monetarily, but just in their teams as far as getting players in and making moves that's going to make this season look, a little different than seasons past. And I'm excited for it, man. I mean, I got a handful of buddies that went to Milwaukee. There's a handful of guys that are now signed with Baltimore. So it'll be cool to see them play and not have to, play against them. I can't say I'll be rooting for all of them. The guys in Baltimore, that's still a tough one. That's a tough. Yeah. I'll watch your games, but I don't know if I can root for them. But yeah, I'm excited to play on the West. It's a much more technical game out here, I feel like, and I think that suits me. So I'm excited for the challenge.
Excited for those Chihuahua games.
I can't wait.
Sorry, Craig, but how's your Spanish? I just need to check in because there's a lot of Spanish that have to be talked to, and the numbers are in Spanish sometimes on the timer, which means that they're not necessarily, linear. But...
Right. No, mi español es muy mal, pero yo entiendo un poquito. Cuando jugando fútbol, perfecto. Pero afuera no es bien. Mi vocabulario es muy mal.
Yeah, he's better than you, Craig.
I mean, at least on par.
Right? I feel like, Craig, that's how you sounded announcing those games in Australia.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I got nothing but time to practice, right? I'm hoping that, they don't try to learn English off me, and I can just give me like a month or two, and I feel like the next conversation we'll have, I'll get by.
You heard it. Next time you're on, puro español.
Yeah, when you saw me in Australia, I think I was in like day 200 on Duolingo instead of day 1400.
Yeah, so practicing.
I remember you seeing that. Yeah, that was like very much early in the basic unit at that point. I'm at least a little bit further along. I understood everything you said at the very
right. I think my verb conjugation suffers a little bit as well, but it's one of those things where if you're close enough, I mean, they'll give you a pass. Everyone kind of gets the gist, So
exactly. Same with them speaking to us. I mean, it's
right.
We get the gist, and it works out. Well, you were talking a little bit earlier about the difference of coming to a club where you don't have to always be the person that is relied upon, whether it's bringing the ball up or six attacker jersey, although maybe that will be your rule, who knows, as things sort out. But I was wondering, like, what you're looking forward to almost stylistically when you know that, for example, we were talking about this before you came on, Mitchell, Pino, that's been the on-ball defending combo for a while, taking on the Lucas Roque, Nick Pereira, so on and so forth, maybe gives yourself, along with Caesar, an opportunity to get out there a little bit. And as an attacking player, I wonder if that's something you're kind of looking forward to, is having that opportunity to know I've got 4 studs along with myself on defense. So when that opportunity comes to take a chance, that it's not as much of a gamble maybe as it was when you were in Florida or Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think that's huge for me as I'm finding out through preseason is it's a trust level that's being built, and I've been very fortunate to be very well received by the group, and it's awesome. I mean, the idea of me going forward and attacking is something I'll always have in the back of my mind. But once again, like you said, I mean, it'll probably be a little more picking and choosing this year because one, the style. When you give the ball to a Tavoy or a Kraig, you don't run right up on him right away. You give him some time to figure out if this guy's going to score or if I need to go and support. So it's funny because Tavoy and I were actually talking today at training about, seeing if we can get that timing down a little bit better and figure it out, with me being a lefty. So it'll be interesting. I mean, my hopes are always to, if I see an opportunity to take advantage of it and have a finished product on the end. But yeah, I mean, that trust level is just as much as it is on the ball, it is off the ball. And these guys out here, it's been phenomenal. It's like, it's just the what goes on between the ears, man. That's really all I can say about it. It's you're watching guys, from the bench and they're moving, 2 passes beforehand. You're seeing them read the play and it's like breath of fresh air. Like, oh man, that's nice. Like these guys are good. And so it's a lot of fun and I'm excited, man. It's going to be a pretty fun season. Hopefully I can keep on par with how I've been producing, from a point standpoint. But for me, at the end of the day, I just want to win. I could care less about the points. I think I've shown what I can do. And if that doesn't happen this year, but we raise a trophy at the end of it, you'll see me with just as big a smile as if I got MVP and we lost. So it's one of those things, man. That's the reason I came here, is to win. So if I can take my chances to help the team out, score a couple bangers, then I'll definitely do it. I'm not going to shy away from it at all. So.
And you were preparing yourself, through this offseason. We were talking about Kraig and how he looks phenomenal. Like he's primed, ready to go.
Yeah.
You're a part of the WMF World Cup this year over in the UAE. Is that something that, you yourself prepared yourself and have as a regimen almost to prepare into this season? And how's the body feeling coming into it?
Yeah, I think it's funny because a lot of people go about it different ways. And for me, I thoroughly enjoy my rest time. And I'm not a big gym rat. I believe in getting all my fitness done with the ball at my foot, playing games, technical work here and there on my own at the gym, stuff like that. And all that stuff happens, depending on report times and so for the EMF game, or sorry, for the World Cup out there, there was a good prep before that. Then just kind of piggybacking off of it, you're out there for 10 days, you're playing games every other day and training in between. So it's not a heavy workload, but it definitely gets you ready for the season. And I mean, the most important part for me is the sharpness on the ball. And that was great. The level is high out in the World Cup. And so it wasn't like a cakewalk. You weren't out there just, scoring goals and winning games. It was a competition and we had to compete. And so, kind of, it's funny because I was telling Boris, I was like, man, I had a couple chances out there. I didn't score. Like, we got to stay after practice. I need to, dial in. I need to get my shot back down a little bit. And so it's funny, it's nice to have that time beforehand to kind of see, hey, where are you at? What things could you work on? And I think for me that's kind of what I'm going to use, preseason as is a chance to sharpen up those things. I noticed maybe I'm a little not where I want to be at right now. So, yeah.
Well, you know what? I had
Love
one
it.
question left on our menu, Tony, but I'm going to throw another one in because I was dumb.
Craig, I can't hear you.
You're a little bit low, Kraig. Yeah.
Oh, that's just because you know why? Because I'm just going to tell you why. Let's just go behind the curtain here for a second. For some reason, my son decided to bring the dog into this room. And then he jumped on the bed, which is immediately behind this computer, and started doing a pillow party where he gets in his back and is like, so I turned off my mic while you were talking to make sure that you didn't hear that. And then I forgot to turn it back on. The dog is down here and it's all good. And now we're all up to date. So what I was saying while the microphone was muted was that I had one question left in the menu, but now I'm going to add a second because I had basically forgotten to put it into the menu this afternoon, which is TST 7v7, the soccer tournament earlier this year that was aired live on Peacock and on NBC and NBC Sports Network. And of course, Newtown Pride FC captured the $1 million prize. Yourself, Gabriel Costa, Tavoy Morgan, all on that club. You had the behind the back assist on the $1 million goal, which is going to be something sick that you're going to show your kids and your kids' kids. And
they're already tired of watching it.
I bet. But just what was that experience like? I thought this was something that was really kind of experimental for U.S. soccer scene, kind of mixing mini football in, which is something I think a discipline a lot of U.S. outdoor fans are not very much aware of. But I thought in particular the target score was one of the great innovations I've seen for any kind of tournament. What was that experience like? What did you think about that innovation and just the overall, obviously bringing home the bag, that didn't hurt.
That was nice. I will definitely say, I'll preface with this. It was one of those things that nobody will remember, but we actually lost our first game. And
I remember that.
And I unfortunately got the touch for the own. It was an own goal in the target score, and we ended up losing off that. And I actually ended up throwing those shoes in the trash. Not superstitious, but I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna wear those again. Like, no chance. I just didn't feel right in them. I was like, after that, it's done. And so it's funny because there was a joke with myself and Stefan Mijatovic, who's now with Empire. And I had a pair of Puma shoes that I just brought just because I kind of like them. And we started calling them the money shoes even before we made it all the way to the last game. And so, fast forward to that last play and, pulling off something like that was like you said, I mean, it was a special moment. I'll never forget it. Little bit of clout from it, which is kind of cool. You never, not one to look for it. So when it happens, it was definitely a cool experience. But yeah, it was the money shoes, man. I still got them in the closet, never breaking them out again. But man, what a tournament. I mean, it was fantastic from start to finish. Obviously the facilities, if anyone's familiar, with Carey's complex, I mean, it's phenomenal. Everyone there was super helpful, super friendly. I mean, it was just really well run. To get into the details of it, I mean, man, that target score was just something else. It gave every team a lifeline, which, isn't always the case in soccer. And obviously there were still some scores where, teams were up 6-0, whatever the case is, and the game's still kind of out of hand. But, for those teams, I believe there was, I think it was Zala that was down 3-0 or something at target score and ended up winning 4-3. And so it's like, that's what the target score allows. That's what this setup provides. And I mean, what a time for fans to experience, your team's never really out. Like you said, introducing, what is around the world, one of the more popular styles of soccer. Countries have Champions Leagues. They've got, leagues that run locally. They've got national teams that are recognized by their federations. So it's definitely a foreign concept to the average U.S. soccer fan, but I think the people that showed up really enjoyed it. It's definitely a different style. Not everyone who's a good player in their own, regard of, outdoor 11-a-side, 5-a-side futsal. It's not easy to make those transitions. And I think just the fact that we had such a heavy indoor roster just, one set us up from the beginning. We all kind of understand how we want to play. And then just having Paolo come up and use his feet, I think everyone kind of saw that throughout the tournament. That was what was really killing teams and was really making it difficult for those guys who were either coming from 11-a-side, trying to play spaces and stuff. And it's like, well, you play a space, we're just going to dribble forward and Paolo will shoot it. Like, that's fine with us. We'll let that happen. So yeah, man, those little nuances. I think after the first game, we kind of settled in and really started to run away with it. You know, obviously, you never really think you're going to be the ones lifting the trophy at the end. You always hope. So when it finally happened, it was a super special moment. Both my parents were able to be there, so that was really cool. Yeah, man. And then the cash prize at the end, that was nice. So yeah, man, what a tournament. I think that they're bringing it back to Cary, if I'm not mistaken, next year.
Yeah.
I was hoping, and I'm like, if they could do a Miami, they could do a New York, they could do, any of these big cities with, good facilities, and I think it would just take off. But with the success they had next year, I imagine there will be more people flying into North Carolina to witness it. So, and I'll end by saying it's never going to be easier than to win the first one. So we got that out of the way.
That's true. Hey, you're the number one name on the trophy, right? Like that's it.
That's
Newtown
right.
Pride FC, the first ever winners of TST. Okay, last thing, and we will let you go, my friend. How hard is it to take care of your hair? Like, what is the general routine for you? Whether on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, because I mean, I've got to imagine sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's a total pain in the butt. Like, what's the general amount of effort and work you have to do to keep your hair the way you want it?
So I definitely I'll go through phases where I wake up in the morning and I just want to like buzz it off. But I've had it for longer than I've been with my wife, so I gotta keep it. But no, actually, shout out to my wife. She's the one who does a lot of the maintenance. She does pretty much all of the maintenance. But I'd say probably about once a week is, a little retwist. You got to keep it clean for the most part. I will say it's not as heavy as you might think. And whether that's because I'm just used to it as it's grown, or it's actually not as heavy. It's one of those things I don't really notice unless I go to like head the ball and then like one like smacks me in the eye and I'm like, or the classic, hair gets pulled in the game and my head goes back and I'm like, man, if I just didn't have short hair, if I had short hair, that wouldn't be an issue, like. And then there's the other one where everyone's like, man, you'd be so much faster. And I'm like, you got to beat me in a race already. So, I mean, you want me to be faster, or like, I don't know. But no, I mean, it's fairly easy to maintain. There's not too much maintenance that goes into it, but that's also personal preference for me. I'm more of a laid back, like, I like to look good, but if it's going to require me to spend, an extra 20 minutes in the morning, I'll probably just let it slide.
That's a soccer player for you right there.
Yeah, I'll just get up and deal with that before picture day. Right, my wife is she's on call tonight for a fresh, retwist for picture day tomorrow. So
yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, if there's one day,
right,
it's
you'll
tonight
see a new
for tomorrow.
Look, man. I'm a little scruffy right now. You'll see a new look tomorrow.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. You'll see the same look for me, unless I can get my wife to shave my head tonight. But I don't think I'm gonna get that. So you'll see same old me. Well, Drew, incredible first appearance on Soccer's Overtime.
Much you can do.
No, I know. I'm a lost cause to begin with. I mean, look, at a certain point you stop caring, and that's good. But
that's why we have our wives.
That's correct. And
right.
I'm just trying to make sure I fit into my flight gear, Drew. I was given the flight gear on Monday, and it's usually like a half size small. And so I was very nervous when they gave me larges, and it all fit. And so I've washed it, and I'm hang drying them. I don't need anything to shrink.
Right. Yeah.
So,
point being,
I'm old and fat.
Line, man.
Yeah. TLDR, I'm old and fat. Okay. Drew, incredible first appearance, Soccer's Overtime, first of many. Thank you so much for joining us on the show of record in the MASL, and we'll see you tomorrow at Photo Day.
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys having me.
The great Drew Ruggles.
Thank you.
Our guest.
Did it this year. Thank you guys.
Do it, baby.
Have a good.
Thank you, Drew. There he is. Man, I always love having the live guests on. Tony, incredible stuff. Really, really fun. Hey, Chip for Oceanside. I'm really not that fat. You're not supposed to agree.
I did not agree. I actually said I can go over and help you out with that hair situation, and if you need an extra hand, I'll, lend it.
Easy, Chip. Easy there, Chip. I can bag on me. You can't bag on me. I'm kidding. I'm not that fat though. I ran yesterday, ran a solid 5K yesterday. My legs are killing me today. Couldn't possibly do it again.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's, tomorrow maybe. Just gonna get out of Theragun and get to work in a minute. All right, let's get into our announcements. We did knock out 2 of them earlier. So, just once again, noting photo days tomorrow. You heard Drew mention that. Season ticket member party Sunday afternoon. I did see somebody while we were talking to Drew in the chat asking where the club's training facility was in El Cajon, and the answer is nowhere. I think maybe someone got confused or misheard, but generally the Sockers train at Bradley Park in San Marcos. So very much not El Cajon. And I very much wish they trained in El Cajon because I live in La Mesa and it would be a very short drive as opposed to a very long drive. But so Bradley Park in San Marcos, generally weekday mornings at 8. Now, when it rains, and it is supposed to rain this week,
correct.
But when it does rain and when the club knows in advance that it's going to rain, they'll often punt the training session to La Mesa Indoor. So I'm only happy when it rains, as the old song by Garbage went, because that means I only have to drive like literally 4.5 minutes to get to La Mesa Indoor, as opposed to much longer to get to San Marcos. But yeah, so that's generally what happens. And every once in a while, the club gets to practice in the arena and can't go in there either. But either Bradley Park in San Marcos, or if it's raining, La Mesa Indoor in La Mesa off Severn. And there's your practice Monday through Friday are Tibbets. Generally weekdays is when they train. So there you have it. Okay. Here's our big announcement. And this is something we've been working on for a couple of weeks. It's a very different time, as you know, Tony. And if folks don't know, I want to just remind everyone every week, you host the San Diego Soccer podcast of record in the city, 2 balls and a mic. Tony, are you there? I think Tony's frozen. Tony is frozen. I'm here. Hey, it's just me. Hi, everybody. Tony will be back. So, Tony's back.
There we go. All right. You talked about rain, and it just messed with the San Diego mojo of it, and just
you're right.
I don't know. But we're back. We're back.
Looking at you, and I thought you were just holding your. Damn it. Oh my golly. Okay. Like Tony's back. Okay. So this is something we've been working on for the last couple of weeks. And as you know, what I was just saying before you froze, Tony, is that you are the host of 2 Balls and a Mic, the podcast of record for San Diego soccer in general. We're the podcast of record for the MASL. You're the podcast of record for San Diego soccer in general. And so you know as well or better than anybody else what a weird time it is in San Diego soccer, because San Diego Loyal is gone. They're literally selling the office furniture on Saturday. And I might go and see if I can buy a chair. Like, it's pathetic, but it's true. The Wave, incredible season for San Diego Wave, but did not win the championship. San Diego FC on the way. MLS coming to San Diego, but a full calendar year where there will be no, outside of Albion, pro outdoor soccer. There will be no first or second division pro outdoor soccer played inside San Diego County. There'll be top flight women's soccer in the NWSL. So, as you also know, both of us have been members of the Locals, Chavos de Loyal. Yep. There's also the San Diego Sirens, which have developed around San Diego Wave and is the official supporter club of San Diego Wave. And with San Diego FC coming in, now you have the Chavos Frontera Ultras, who are kind of the dedicated offshoot to San Diego FC. And you've got the Riptides, a new supporters group that is exclusive to San Diego FC as well. So there's a lot of supporter energy in San Diego. And right now, there's not a lot of homes for San Diego supporter energy. Put on top of all of that, the locals have been in a bit of an existential crisis, really. Like we had a bylaw that was exclusive to supporting the loyal, and now the loyal don't exist. So therefore our bylaw is defunct. So now what? Right. And they've been doing canvassing, they've been doing surveys, they're trying to figure out their identity. Well, over here at Soccer's, we've been trying to develop the soccer supporter culture indoors, something that's really never existed in the history of the sport. Soccer supporter culture has always been associated with outdoors. There's been some very little crossover from outdoor to indoor, and of course, we are so thankful and respectful of the great Adrian and what he has done to help bring that supporter culture inside our arena in Section 19 with Los Brujos de 78, which is the Chavos de Loyal offshoot group that supports indoor and supports our San Diego Soccers. We are looking to grow supporter culture around the San Diego Soccers. We want those who have become big outdoor fans and are searching for a team that is locally owned, that is independently owned, that has not only a winning tradition, but in fact is the holder of the tradition of San Diego's soccer history.
Absolutely.
Dating back to 1976 as the San Diego Jaws outdoors at Jack Murphy Stadium, which then was called San Diego Stadium, and now is the parking lot for Snapdragon Stadium.
Yeah.
So here's what we're doing for the home opener on December 3rd. We are having a supporters summit. And what that means is if you are a member of the locals, if you are a member of Chavos de Loyal, if you are a member of the Sirens, if you are a member of the Riptides, you have a free opportunity for 2 tickets for every person to come to the match on Sunday, December 3rd. And of course, the match is at 5, but we're going to hold a supporter summit at 3:30. It'll be in a little outdoor alcove inside. You go inside the arena, and then they've got a semi-outside staged area kind of on the west side. And that's where we're going to hold it. Today, they were telling me that we're going to figure out the logistics. We'll have stuff for you to eat. We'll have stuff for you to drink while we're there. And we'll have an opportunity to kind of chat up what the history of San Diego Soccers is and what we're hoping to achieve with our supporter culture here. And then, of course, every one of those supporters has the opportunity to walk right over into Section 19, to get rowdy, to have fun, to get behind the club as they take on Nick Pereira and the Tacoma Stars and jeer Danny Waltman from behind, kindly. But jeer Danny Waltman. Is Tony frozen again? Tony's frozen again. Look at that death stare. I was like, that can't possibly be right. So we'll unfreeze Tony, but really excited about this. The Supporters Summit, Sunday, December 3rd. And in terms of if you are a supporter and you're watching this and you want to know how to get involved, get into your Discords. I'm going to be putting stuff up tomorrow with a link that everyone can click to sign up and be in line for your tickets. Welcome back, Tony.
Just, I think other supporter groups from around the MASL just darted me in the neck and just said, just coming on down. But yeah, I love what is happening here with the supporter summit. And we'll throw that info back up here. Right there.
There it is. That was hilarious, man. I'm like talking. I look down. You look so serious. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, that's my tell. Whenever the frown comes up and it's just like pensive, it's like, technology. No, I mean, if I can, it's just a great opportunity because that's something that I've been really young man, old man, me man, the San Diego man yelling at cloud of, hey, come support the San Diego Sockers, come support, be about it. There was a huge explosion of that supporter culture where really, you know what? The reality of it is people responded to the outdoor game as they should in order to represent their city. San Diego Sockers has always been here, but now guess what? San Diego Sockers are still here. And that is an effervescent essence of the spirit of San Diego that will not go away. And I really don't care if it's South County, North County, East County, literally off of one of the carriers out there, Nimitz, like it's part of San Diego. And if the Sockers were to play, actually, that would be a really good idea. Let's play at the Midway. One of the aircraft carriers. You know,
You fly that free kick and it's just in the water. Someone has to dive off the side of the Midway and grab that ball.
Get it. I'll go get it. It's fine. But no, it's something that, you know, the spirit of local soccer and even the hashtag support local soccer was made apparent. It was made, you know, really thrown in people's faces at times by like, hey, like come and support and be about it. Well, this isn't really getting thrown in people's faces. It's another opportunity to be about it. It's another opportunity to come together and support San Diego for what it is and what everybody's known it has been for years. And I really think it's a really good chance to, you know, just like Drew Ruggles was talking about, like if you're not where you're supposed to be, the preseason's for, but this is a chance to really be in season with something and give it your all. And that's something that is a rare opportunity. And the San Diego Sockers deserve that because they've been a part of this city and the fabric of soccer in San Diego. And I'll even put it to you this way, Kraig. I don't think I've told you this. When I was 5 years old over in Furati and TJ, I played a halftime show with the San Diego Sockers and they kicked our butt. And I'm telling you, I was like 5 years old, but they kicked our butt. And I was just in awe of these guys came over from the El Otro Lado, the United States, and they're so much better than anything I've ever seen. And really it's a team that unites las fronteras and on both sides. And this sport really speaks highly. It's spoken highly of in Tijuana as well. A lot of the players come from over there, but I digress. Come over, be part of it, be loud and proud.
Exactly. Loud and proud. And be proud to be loud. And help create the culture inside the arena that makes it miserable for the opponent, makes it great for the viewer, and makes it easier for the Sockers to claim another championship, to win another shield. It's a supporters shield. We've had that connection to our supporter culture for the last 2 years by winning the supporter shield, and we just want to grow it. So, hey, if you're a part of the Riptides and you're excited about what you're going to bring as a fledgling supporters organization, you have no match to go work on a song or a chant or a cheer until February 2025. Maybe you're going to go cheer at some friendly or some high school game or something. Why not support an authentic professional team that has been here since 1978 as the Sockers and has won 16 championships, is locally owned, is independent, is fighting for its life, you know, and has all of the culture of San Diego success in its DNA. If you are with the Sirens and you guys want to tune up for the next season, you know, hey, why not? If you're a member of the Locals and you're looking for a new identity, you're looking for something that you can hang your supporter scarf around, so to speak, you know, the Sockers are there for you. Inexpensive, an opportunity, a chance to still connect, a chance for that community to still come together, that incredible Locals community that is so giving and so warm, to have that group come together. And of course, for Chavos have done a great job of positioning themselves over the last year. And Brujos de 78 has led the way. Adrian has led the way. But I've spoken to him. I've spoken to Kevin. They are growing. They want to grow. They are getting new people in their organization. Well, where better to show that you are, in fact, Chavos de San Diego, and that you are about more than just one club, than to come and be a part of what Adrian is building in Section 19. So it's really a chance, a free opportunity to come to that opening match. I love the local scarves are coming out. The Chavos scarves are coming out. I really appreciate that. And like I said, everyone check your Discords in the various supporters groups. We'll have those links by tomorrow, and very much hoping, and you can go to stsoccers.com/summit to find out more, to just see a written version of what I've said. But nonetheless, really looking forward to that. Very excited for it. We've done it before. We did it a few years ago, and I'm very excited to do this once again. And transitioning, Tony, and just backing up our brothers at Chavos, brothers and sisters at Chavos, this is their annual Thanksgiving drive for the last 4 years. Chavo y Pavos.
Chavo, homie. There we go.
Where they give out free turkeys, canned food down in Barrio Logan on Logan Avenue. It's this Saturday at 12 o'clock. You can literally Venmo Adrian to help support. You can come down to volunteer to help give things out. Just go to the Chavos social media feeds, Chavos de Loyal on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, wherever you want to go find it. You can find the Venmo link for Adrian. You can help donate. I've donated. The club's donated. It's something that I'm really thrilled that they do every year, and really their connection, Chavos' connection to the community, is indisputable. So if anyone is watching and can help them out with a small donation, $5, $10, $20, all of that leads to really helping out some of the less advantageous people, people with fewer advantages than we have here in San Diego at a time when it's absolutely needed. So Chavo y Pavos, 4th annual, Saturday, 12 o'clock down on Logan Avenue. But if you want to get involved, you can do that wherever you are. You can do that watching across the country. Just search for Chavos de Loyal on Instagram, do so on Facebook, on Twitter, which is called X, and you can find that Venmo link and you can donate to Adrian. Did it myself today. Absolutely a worthy cause.
Yeah, wonderful. What a round ball and a simple game can really do for a community. And that's one of the great things that have come out from soccer in San Diego, is this beautiful community. So help out, be about it.
Last soccer's announcement, something that came out last week, is that the United Soccer Coaches Convention, the biggest soccer coaches convention in the country, is taking place this year in Anaheim, California. On January 11th, the Sockers and Empire Strikers will play an exhibition match inside the Anaheim Convention Center, which is the host of the USC convention, at 5 p.m., January 11th. And it's the first time that a pro indoor soccer match has been held inside the convention itself. Previously, they have done this like in Kansas City at Kemper Arena or at Cable Dahmer Arena. But this will be actually in the venue itself, where the convention is. The match will be televised on Twitch. I believe that Philly and myself will be calling that game. I know all of our staff will be there. And if you'd like to be there, there are limited tickets available, and you can go to stsoccers.com. You can call the Soccers, 866-799-GOAL, to get your ticket and get your opportunity to go see the MASL Pro Indoor Cup. Now, it's also the 7th meeting of the year between the Soccers and Strikers, but the only one which doesn't count. So, and Suzanne noting, she's like, wait, but isn't there a game in Tacoma 2 days later and then Chihuahua? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yes, there is, Susan. And
Right.
and I have a strong suspicion that it won't be the starting lineup for the San Diego Sockers that day in the MASL Pro Indoor Cup. That there may be some of those, there may be the tall guy and the guy with the mohawk and the goalie and the other guy.
Yeah.
And importantly, the other guy might get some playing time. There might be a few other guys. that sneak their way in. Maybe Eddie Velez and Brian Farber come out of retirement that day. You know, like there could be Zay Roberto, you know, finds his way out of the weeds. You know, it's all of it is a possibility. Yeah. Now that you bring it up, Susan, why the hell are we doing this? Right. Because it's a really good opportunity for the MASL is the answer. It's a great opportunity for connection. The league is trying to create connections. They're trying to create and forge these connections between the indoor and outdoor world, just like we were talking about with our supporter summit. They're doing it at corporate levels. They're doing it at coaching levels. So, you know, we're thrilled to be a part of it, or at least modestly thrilled to be a part of it. And just hope that nobody gets hurt or overly tired on January 11th.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good opportunity because, again, the Sockers are that beacon of MASL, and who else do you want to represent the MASL as a whole than the San Diego Soccer? So there you go.
Now, I just want to note that the media game will have been played prior to this week, so it'll have been the weekend before. So if anybody happens to have like really stood out in the media game, the opportunity to get signed for the exhibition match is like, it's a non-zero chance. I'm just saying it's a higher chance than it normally would be.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I've put a resume together of some performances of certain players. So I mean, I think I like I'm picking up what you're putting down, Kraig. I think I like that.
Hey, you know, maybe Paul Wright will activate himself, and then you could do a diving save on Paul Wright, you know, and you could stop a women's Hall of Famer and a men's Hall of Famer. Like, you know, see if you can do that. I'd love to see it. Okay, so that's January 11th. That's Soccer's news. Briefly, because we're approaching 90 minutes, which is my maximum for when we have a guest, unless I get really worked up. MASL news. Strikers made a trade, we say, for the second straight week. They announced it prior to the show of record. I appreciate Empire doing their moves prior to the show of record coming on. They recognize where the show of record is, and they get out those releases on Tuesdays in the middle of the day to make sure that we get that on. Lucas Roque, one of the great Baltimore Blast players, a 35-year-old veteran, a 4-time champion, I want to say, but a Baltimore fan. If Gio's in the chat, you know, you can let me know. I don't think I read that in the Empire press release. They did put some specific numbers in for Lucas Roque. I appreciated that. But Lucas Roque acquired from Baltimore a trade. Jesus Sweepy Pacheco is going to Baltimore, and Roque comes to Empire. And for a team that's looked to get younger and faster, Tony, obviously Lucas Roque is not that. He's a career futsal player. He brings that Brazilian flair. He is a really good player, though. A really good player who's been clutch in the past. I think Tony's frozen again. Has been clutch in the past. And he's back. And you were frozen again for a second. I was like, what happened?
Boy, I hear you say it, and I'm like, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not frozen. It starts moving around. I love it. So I don't know, Tony. I'm just going to say bottom line. I think this is a really, really good trade for Empire. You know, Baltimore had to probably make some changes. I saw a little bit of an Ed Hale press conference on Twitter a couple weeks ago where they talked about, you know, making some changes for that franchise. Lucas Roque is one of their most established, best players. He's one of the most respected players in the league. And I think he can't help but make Empire better. And he's going to be the focal point of their attack. You're frozen again. Oh, you're back. Ish.
I'm fine. The direction that they're going with the youth, but they also need that veteran pizzazz, and Roque seems like that focal point where, you know, you have young kids running around, just give it to him and he'll finish it, and he'll make those plays concrete. So I mean, it's an interesting strategy. We'll see how it develops, and
there he goes. I knew that he was hanging on by a technological inch. Kay Vibbert asks, a couple weeks ago, you listed Empire's top scorers. Hey, welcome back, Tony. Are any of the top 5 left? Yes. The answer to Kay Vibbert's question is Justin Stinson is left. So the stinger, Justin Stinson, or the shooter, I think he wanted to call himself last year. Bang, bang. Stinson is still there. Roque is going to step right in. I think he's the kind of player that can fit. And to be honest, I mean, Taiyu for Roque.
That's what it was. That was the exchange, right? If you really, at face value.
I think Empire did okay.
Yeah.
And I love, Frank. I have all the respect in the world for Frank, but I think Empire did okay on that. And then they get Stefan Mijatovic and Quentin Swift as well. And Mijatovic in particular is somebody who, will be on the scouting report. Let's just put it that way. In terms of dangerous from outside, physical, has bite to him, likes to get into it. Obviously, Empire's faster. And I think the Roque trade gives them at least a chance to put some scoring pop together. The biggest difference, I would say, in Taiyu's favor between Taiyu and Roque is dependability, availability. Lucas Roque has dealt with injury many times in his career. He's been out for extended periods for Baltimore many different times. And I certainly don't wish any of that on anyone. But at 35, you always wonder about injury. Frank, a couple of years younger, but somebody who generally posts up every single game, every single year, Frank Taiyu. So, hey, overall, I think Empire wound up in a decent place.
Yeah, it's going to make for better games than it would have without this trade, I think. At the end of the day. And so again, never want to go ahead and take your foot off the gas, because that's when you get a little bit too confident. And last year we saw with Empire actually, and the Sockers got themselves some of their own medicine at times.
Absolutely. And we'll wrap on this. Soccer's Dynasty asks a question in the chat saying, which team gained the most from the Florida collapse, the dissolution of the Florida Tropics? I just want to say, let's talk about that next week on the show, because that's when we're going to get closer to conference previews. And I still think some of the Florida players at least have not been announced in their new teams, or some might still be catching on. So right now, I'd say the Sockers getting Ruggles is pretty darn awesome. I think Hugo Silva, the keeper, going to Harrisburg, that's a big help for the Heat because he's a quality keeper. And I think Ricardo Carvalho going to Milwaukee is a big add for the Wave because he's a clutch goal scorer and has been a clutch goal scorer for years. But I want to know everyone from Vandergrift to Pereiras and down the line, where does everyone settle in and settle out? At which point maybe we'll have a good answer for that question. But now, Tony, now's the time to play the music because we've reached the 90-minute mark. And it's time to get on out of here. Man, it's great to be back with all of our friends on Soccer's Overtime, Tony.
No, absolutely. Thank you for everybody who joined us. Mr. Kraig, senor, I see it on there, but please tell everybody where you can find you.
Find me on Instagram at 619 Sports and Life. Still on X at 619 Sports as well. With no life, you have no life.
No.
You're on X. You can follow me on 619 Sports. If you have a life, you can follow me on Instagram, 619 Sports and Life. Threads as well. I don't think I've threaded since the week it came out, but maybe I will eventually. So you can follow me there. And Tony, how about you?
Find me at _Tony Sanchez. That's literally it. _Tony Sanchez on Twitter, X. At this point, it's on there. And if you want, Tony Sanchez on Instagram as well.
Outstanding. For Tony Sanchez, for Drew Ruggles, I'm Kraig Elston saying thanks to all of you for joining us here on Soccer's Overtime. Hope to see many of you at the season ticket member party on Sunday afternoon. And for the rest of you, we'll see you next Tuesday right back here at 5 o'clock. Until then, have a great week. And go Sockers!